That would
Let's
be
bring
great.
back our fan favorite segment, Mensch or Bench. This was popular from our fantasy football days, and
That's
it's going
right.
to be coming back this fall. But let's get a little more Mensch or Bench going. Basically, we're going to name a couple players, and you either mench them or bench them for the fantasy season. Mensch, you want them on your team.
Yep.
Bench, not so much.
And what I did was pulled the most current rankings, so it included some rookies. So each of these is a comparison of some rookie players with, some more veteran players that are ranked right next to each other. And so the question is, who would you rather from those three? Who is the one bench and who are the two benches? So let's start off at the quarterback position. All right. So these are the 7th, 8th, and 9th ranked quarterbacks on Fantasy Pros, one of my favorite sites, other than the ideas that Jesse and I give you, of course. They had these three quarterbacks, 7, 8, 9 overall: Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert, Trevor Lawrence. If you're sitting at that pick and those are your three, you have to pick a quarterback this round. Which way are you going, Jess?
Justin Herbert, not even close. Justin Herbert had a great season last year, and I only expect him to do even better as he grows into that starter role. Even though they did lose Hunter Henry, I'm still really hot on him this year. I think he's going to do great. I think Trevor Lawrence is going to need some time. It's still going to be his first season with a not so good team. I think the Chargers have the best team out of the three of those. So give me Justin Herbert. I also like Joe Burrow, though. I mean, he was pretty good in fantasy last year too. And now that he's getting his guy Jamar Chase back, and apparently Joe Mixon is not going to leave the field for like a single snaps, which take that with a grain of salt, because Joe Mixon is like the devil when it comes to fantasy. Like, you always want to draft him in like the second round, but then he's there at the end of the first, and like you just go after it, and then your whole season's in shambles.
And every year they say, oh, he's going to get so many carries, 400 carries, all this craziness, and then he gets hurt and he's out for 6 weeks. I agree with you. I think Justin Herbert's the easy call here. I think Joe Burrow's my number 2. And, definitely benching Trevor Lawrence. I think we said a lot of nice things about the Jaguars offense, but I'm going to wait and see at that position. And I'm going to go Justin Herbert, who was lights out last year. I mean, 300-yard game after 300-yard game, plenty of touchdowns. I think he's easily the pick here. Cool.
Yeah. Josh, if we could frame this and put it on a wall, I'm never taking Joe Mixon again. It's one of like the best fantasy quotes. Just
you need to write it on a piece of paper and bring it to your draft and just
write
say,
it on a chalkboard
no matter
like
what.
Times.
Just like the draft day, that ridiculous movie about the Browns draft.
Yes.
Just right. Never Joe Mixon under any circumstances. So let's go to the running back position. We have the 10th, 11th, and 12th ranked players. We have one rookie and a couple of young guys. We have Cam Akers ranked 10th, Najee Harris ranked 11th, and Clyde Edwards-Helaire ranked 12th. Who are you mentioning? Who are you benching?
I'm mentioning Cam Akers for sure. He was doing really well at the end of that season. And I think now with Stafford at the helm, that offense is just going to do even better than it did with Jared Goff. So definitely Cam Akers, 1. I'm least, I think, bench Clyde Edwards-Helaire. He was still pretty good on the Chiefs, but it's just too crowded of an offense there. And I'm not sure what the Le'Veon Bell situation is. But it's just too crowded. You got Cheetah, you got Kelsey. There's just way too many mouths to feed. So he's my bench. Najee Harris is kind of in the middle of those two. Still a rookie. I believe Benny Snell is still there. So I'm not sure necessarily who will get all the targets. I could see him being a Jonathan Taylor type, like getting like a mix of carries for like the first 10 weeks until they realize that they should just be giving him the ball every play. And then probably in the second half of the season, like getting way more touches because Pittsburgh's just like out of the playoff situation. So I could definitely see him being a big second half of the season player, but I would go Cam, Najee, and then Clyde for my order.
Right. So you think the ranks are correct. I like Cam Akers a lot. I think he's really going to be Matt Stafford's favorite weapon just because you can give him the ball a ton. I think Najee Harris is going to get a ton of carries. I think Mike Tomlin's been waiting for their next chance to just have a running back that, can be that 20 carry the game guy. And, everybody they've had the last couple of years just couldn't stay healthy enough to do it. So, but I'm going to probably say, so I'm going to stick with you. I mean, I hate to agree with you, but Akers, Harris, Edwards-Helaire just couldn't stay healthy last year. He's never going to be a high carry guy. Now, he is going to get a lot of passes out of the backfield, just like he did at LSU. But I agree. Akers is the Mensch, and the rest are bench. So
you're copying me.
I am. So you ask me the next one. That way I don't have to.
All right. Next question. We got rookie/sophomore wide receivers. We got Jamar Chase, CeeDee Lamb, and T. Higgins.
That's a really tough one. These are ranked 13 through 15. Of course, 2 of these players play together, so that's one thing. I just don't like CeeDee Lamb enough. I think I have to bench him until I see what Dak's coming back to look like. Plus, he's got a lot of competition on that roster for targets. But then you have Chase and you have Higgins. My gut says go Higgins because of the fact that he's been there. He's not a rookie like Chase. But Burrow is going to feed Chase like nobody's business. So in the end, I'm going to go. I hate to be a homer and just go with the LSU guys, but I'm mentioning Jamar Chase, unbelievable talent, probably the best wide receiver season ever in the history of college football 2 years ago. So I'll bench Higgins and Lamb.
Interesting. So T. Higgins was great last year. But I agree that Chase is probably going to be better than Higgins just because T. Higgins lacks that LSU connection with Burrow. So I think that they're going to be a great 1-2. But if I had to choose, I would go Chase. CeeDee Lamb, I'm still interested in because I think he's really good, but he's the wide receiver 3 on his team. He's still behind Amari Cooper and Michael Gallup. And I know Michael Gallup had a bit of a slow start to the year last year, but I think he has 1 year left on his contract. I'm pretty sure this is a contract year for him. So Michael Gallup might be trying to play for a bigger bag next year. I would still like CeeDee Lamb, though. He was surprisingly consistent on the Cowboys, putting up double digits almost every week in fantasy. And if Dak's back, everybody's going to be eating well. So honestly, I would feel comfortable with any of these 3. But if I had to choose, it would be Chase, Lamb, then Higgins.
Yeah, and I get that. It's obviously a tough call to make. What's interesting is there's so many rookie wide receivers that I think are going to have an impact in fantasy, and that's not always the case. I don't think I felt super strong about Lamb last year, but a lot of wide receivers, Devontae Smith and Jamar Chase and others coming in this year. So, it'll really be interesting how that shifts. When do you take running back? When do you take receiver? How many do you take before you think about quarterback and all that, which I'm sure we'll talk about ad nauseum in a couple of months. But love that. Love that there's a lot of good young talent and trying to figure out, which quarterbacks can step up and get these guys the ball. So let's do one more tight end. I just wanted to involve something with Kyle Pitts. Okay. So with the Atlanta Falcons. 4, 5, and 6. Okay, Mark Andrews, Pitts, T.J. Hawkinson. Which way are you going on that one?
This is a good one. So Kyle Pitts is playing in the most crowded of these offenses. Or actually, maybe not. They have Calvin Ridley and Julio Jones, but there's not really much going on outside of that. And Russell Gage. I'm not sure if he's still there. But Matt Ryan definitely loves his tight ends. And I could definitely see him taking over the number 1 spot over Hayden Hurst. Hayden Hurst wasn't really the tight end that Matt Ryan needed last year. But some guy like Kyle Pitts, who's just he's got insane wheels on him. I can see this being great for them. He's still going to be below TJ Hawkinson for me. TJ Hawkinson was the tight end 3, I believe, for a lot of the year last year, and might have even finished there because George Kittle missed a lot of time. Pitts, yes, Josh. Pitts is one of the most, maybe even the most talented of the group there. But honestly, TJ Hawkinson, the Lions lost Kenny Golladay and Marvin Jones. There's a lot of targets up for grabs. Jared Goff likes his tight ends too. Tyler Higbee was having a great season last year. So I think the sky's the limit for TJ Hawkinson. I can see him moving into the top 5 tight ends. I'm less hot on Mark Andrews, so I would say Hawkinson, Pitts, Andrews is my order for this.
Yeah, I think where Pitts is going to have a really good season. I don't think his yards are going to be unbelievable. There's just too many receiving options for the Falcons, and he's not going to get a ton of targets, I think, between the 20s. But at the goal line, the place where we know Julio Jones just cannot score for some reason, I think that's where Pitts is going to be really, really good. So I think as the fantasy tight ends kind of shake out, he's going to be, top 5 to 7, somewhere up in there, just because of the touchdowns he gets. However, with this group, I can't go Hawkinson because of the quarterback that he's got this year. Jared Goff is not what he's been used to playing with. I worry about him holding the ball too long and Hawkinson being wasted a little bit. So I'm going to mention Mark Andrews. I really, really want to see Lamar Jackson turn the corner this year. Obviously, his accuracy has always been an issue, but I just think he's at that point in his career where he's going to have to take it to the next level in order to really do some have some wins in the playoffs for the Ravens. And I think Mark Andrews is an easy way to get there. So give me Mark Andrews as my mensch, and I'm going to bench the other two.
Yeah, and Lamar Jackson, I mean, he's got a lot to work on, being the youngest MVP ever.
Right.
So he's still younger than Joe Burrow, by the way. So let's keep that in mind.
Yeah, I mean, Joe Burrow, he went to 2 different universities, so he was around a little bit in college. So definitely an old. Thanks for watching this Lost Tribe video. The full show of Pass the Rock airs on Twitch. Be sure to like and share the video and comment below with some things that we need to talk about next week. We're always open to new conversation. We are Lost Tribe.